Hump Day. What a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, right? I knew Mr. Rogers very well, by the way. I got along well with him. And he knew a lot of liberals in the land of make-believe, right? A lot of people. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Trump Day. Happy Hump Day. Remember the old Geico commercial? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Hump Day, yeah. Oh, it's going to be a good one. The left is losing the narrative battle. The left is losing the narrative battle, the narrative war, when we talk about Los Angeles. And we've been ahead of that all day long. Oh, not all day long, right? We've been ahead of that every day, the last couple of days, kind of showing you what they were trying to do, rewriting cause and effect, right? And now you've even got Maxine Waters, who is like, Brennan, did you see this? Maxine Waters, she said, there was no violence. Oh. She said, even when you saw that on camera, there was no violence. Doesn't matter what's on camera. There was no violence. Oh. 1984, the novel. I'm so happy I read it again last year. And I read it in like a week and a half. I just flew through that book. But Oceania is not at war with East Asia. Oceania is at war with Eurasia. Oceania has always been at war with Eurasia. For those of you who have read the book, you know what I'm talking about, right? You know, Oceania was either the narrative in the fictional, although it's becoming more nonfiction day by day, the fictional nation of Oceania in 1984, in George Orwell's 1984, the narrative was always that they were at war with one country. And when they had to shift the narrative and move it, it was that they were never at war with the other country. They were always at war with the country that they're currently at war with. Despite the fact that yesterday, Oceania may have been at war with East Asia, but today they're at war with Eurasia, and they've always been at war with Eurasia. That is exactly what Maxine Waters is trying to do. It's literally right out of the book. There was no violence. I don't care what you saw on camera. There was no violence. Okay. She said, I was in the streets and there was no violence. Oh, okay. All righty then. Then there was no violence. I guess because she said it, it's true. A federal court actually ruled in favor of the Trump administration. That's how you know Gavin Newsom. That's how you know Gavin Newsom is way out of his lane, right? A federal court ruled in favor of the Trump administration's use of Title X to federalize the National Guard, which we talked about for a pretty decent period of time yesterday to clarify what it is. And a lot of footage that came from on the ground yesterday when you saw the National Guard detailed and showed, that the National Guard was doing just that, protecting federal buildings with their Title X deployment, or federalization anyway. And that's it was important for us to draw those distinctions yesterday so we could know what to expect from the Guard when they were out and about in Los Angeles. So we have that. By the way, new polling shows that a majority of Americans, the American people, we the people, the beautiful people of the United States, we're changing the Constitution. We're changing the Constitution to we the people, the beautiful people of the United States. The American people overwhelmingly support Donald Trump's use of the National Guard in California, which there's a couple of indicators, so we'll talk about that in a second. By the way, the billionaire blowout, as I like to call it, we named it last Friday, the billionaire blowout, appears to have been, appears to be over, I guess. It's a good thing. We don't need to be fighting with each other. Again, I don't trust Elon Musk. I would not put him in a position of any sort of considerable influence. However, this is still, it's nice to not have this distraction hanging over people's heads. Here's the post Elon put up on X today. I regret some of my posts about real Donald Trump last week. They went too far. It's a really long-winded way to say I'm sorry, but it's okay. Elon Musk admits that he went too far last week. So to everybody who ate that up, Donald Trump is a pedophile. Wrong, right? Elon came out and said that they went too far. So Elon is not apologized, but Elon is, Truth Social categorized it as an apology. I don't think that's necessarily an apology, but I'm not here to split hairs over that. To me, it doesn't really matter. It's over. It lasted 6 days. It's done. And on to bigger and better things. Donald Trump said in the future he may be able to forgive Elon Musk, which is fine, as long as Elon Musk does not have a substantial role in the administration going forward. He's proven he can't be given the gift of trust. And that's all I'm looking to see on that front, right? So nice that is kind of blown over. So we've got polling that shows the American people overwhelmingly support Donald Trump's use of the National Guard. We've got a couple more clips from Los Angeles. We got an update on the wild hog. You know the wild hog. LaMonica McIver, she's been indicted. The riots now are starting to spread to other places around the country. And by the way, ABC News, the ABC News, the same people who hire and employ David Muir and Lindsay Davis. David Muir, by the way, still the front runner in fake news media tool bag of the year because he wore the clothespins. Remember the clothespins when Los Angeles, ironically, was burning down earlier in the year? And he wore the clothespins on his little jacket to make it look nice and tight and snug and ooh. And somebody was like, he's not doing it for looks. He's doing it so the jacket doesn't flap around in the wind. Well, he was wearing a fire jacket and he wasn't in a fire. So this was a guy who was playing fireman on television. But anyway, the same ABC News undermined Gavin Newsom's rewriting, a revision of history regarding the LA riots. So we're going to get to all that. We'll do the courts. We'll do the polling. We'll do more video. We got some. We have an LFA correspondent, Edward Zoll. Is that how you pronounce his name? Szall. Anyway, Edward Zoll is out there in Los Angeles for LFA TV. He was out there last night on the ground, getting amazing clips and footage. I've got a little piece of that of Karen Bass not answering his questions. So we'll get to that as well. Riots spreading to other parts of the country. AOC and Jeffrey's little red line has been crossed apparently now. Remember the red line from a month ago or so. So we will get to all that and more. Before we get to that, I want to get to a word from our friends over at OFP Farms. It's OFPFarms.com, OFPFarms.com, OFPFarms.com. Father's Day right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to want to miss it. Saddle up for Father's Day at OFP Farms. They've got massive news, hot off the farm press. OFP Farms is dishing out a barn load of gift sets to make your dad, your papa, your husband, your son, your best uncle, or that special father figure in your life feel like a king this Father's Day. Choose from the fabulous lineup of beard and bath sets, soap boxes, wellness bundles, and a whole lot more. Round up your orders today. Time is ticking away to get these goodies shipped out to your dad. And while we all loved the Pony Express back in the day, we got to trust the good old USPS to deliver the goods this time. But here's the good news, the great news, the best news. You can get 20% off. 20% off if you go to OFPFarms.com today and use the promo code Shawn, SHAWN. It's right there on your screen. Right there on your screen. SHAWN. OFPFarms.com, promo code SHAWN for 20% off. OFPFarms.com, promo code Shawn. OFPFarms.com, promo code SHAWN for Father's Day. It's right coming around the corner this weekend. And we thank OFP Farms for obviously sponsoring the show, being a part of the show, and being so awesome, right? The LFA family loves OFP Farms products. We got the Revolution soap right here. It smells like victory. That's what it smells like. The Revolution soap. We love all their gift sets, their boxes. The beard oil is tremendous. I'm a huge, I will wax poetic about the Goat Kisses lip balm. Better than your Crap Stick or your Blistex or your Carmex. OFPFarms.com. Promo code Shawn. Check it out. All right, let's get to this. This is what makes me excited. The left is losing the narrative war on the battle over Los Angeles right now, okay? The left is losing the narrative war. What do I mean by that? Well, what was the narrative that the left was floating out there, right? That we've been debunking since Monday morning. What was the narrative? Oh, it was, right, mostly peaceful, right? Donald Trump was the only reason, Donald Trump was the reason why people got out of control. Remember when ABC, this is an ABC affiliate, but ABC said it was just a couple people having fun.
Large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and
you could even hear somebody in the background on that going, oh no, because there's a car on fire. CNN categorizing it as lawful protests with some unrest. The Los Angeles Police Department on Friday evening, their press release coming out and saying that it was mostly peaceful. But we all knew that was garbage, right? We all knew that was nonsense. And so Donald Trump on Saturday evening, a full day after the unrest began, said he's going to federalize the National Guard and they're going to assist in Los Angeles. And Gavin Newsom had a tantrum about it. He went on you thought Elon Musk had a bad day on X. Gavin Newsom he posted about Trump like 30 times in one day. 30 times. Guys, I sound like him. I don't post about him 30 times in one day. I've come close. 30 times? My goodness. But Donald Trump deployed the National Guard because obviously there was major unrest in Los Angeles. We saw the videos of just some people having fun. We saw the videos of roadways being taken over like this one. We saw all the footage from Los Angeles of the violence. So the American people, because we have access to viral videos, whether it's on X, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Rumble, whether it's on networks like LFA TV, whether it's on your cable news, Fox News, Newsmax, wherever it is, even ABC7 had to show cars being lit on fire, or else the guy wouldn't say, oh, it's just people having fun, watching cars burn. Someone should have asked him, hey, guy, whatever the guy's name is, not important enough to remember. Hey, guy, how'd those cars get lit on fire? Who lit them? Did they just decide? It's just time to go up in flames now. Just a bunch of people watching cars burn, right? Like it's a group of friends in a backyard around a bonfire. It's just a bunch of people roasting marshmallows. Come on, right? Despite all the gaslighting from the mainstream media, the American people saw right through it. Why did they see right through it? Because the mainstream media is not the boss anymore. They still have influence, don't get me wrong. They still have an audience, don't get me wrong. But their audience is shrinking day after day. That much has been proven. And I can back that up with data. If the mainstream, let me ask this question to the chat. If the mainstream media still had a sizable, I don't want to say sizable because they still have influence. But if the mainstream media still were the arbiters of truth in this country the way they'd been for a while until Donald Trump essentially threw a wrench into their plans, if the mainstream media still could move the needle on the narrative, would a majority of people support Donald Trump deploying the National Guard? Yes or no? If the mainstream media still had as much power as they had, let's say, 15 years ago, would the American people believe these are unruly protests? If the mainstream media still had, and we'll even go beyond these protests, if the mainstream media still had the power that they had 10 or 15 years ago, would the American people, people are understanding the question. If the mainstream media still had the power that nobody, I must have phrased this question wrong. We're getting the wrong answers in the chat. Okay? If the mainstream media still had all their power, would the majority of the American people believe that there was unrest in Los Angeles? The answer to that is no. because the mainstream media would have gaslit everybody. Okay? And essentially convinced everybody that what we were saying wasn't happening. Okay? If they still had a sizable amount of power, we would see the American people taking the side of the left in these conversations, not our side. Not our side. We would still not believe what the mainstream media is saying. But I'm asking us to step out of our own heads and put ourselves in the position of independents who can be swayed by the mainstream media. I phrased it incorrectly. But the point that I'm making is if the mainstream media, same group of people, Bad Moon said, we thought you were saying they were legit. No. Same group of people. They're the fake news, but America doesn't know they're fake yet, right? The mainstream media has successfully convinced the majority of the American people that they can be trusted, even though they can't be trusted, okay? If the mainstream media still had power over the narrative, as much power as they used to have, we wouldn't be seeing results like this. This is data that shows you that what the media is saying about these protests is not being believed, is not being accepted by the American people. Why does it show you that? Because if the media was saying, hey, these protests are peaceful, and the American people believed that the protests were peaceful, then they would not overwhelmingly support Donald Trump's deployment and federalization of the National Guard. That's my point, right? So if ABC, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, PBS, NPR, The Washington Post, The New York Times, and all the other ones, right, all came out and said, they were peaceful protests, right? Like iRobot, one of us. Which one? One of us, right? They programmed the American people to believe that the protests were peaceful and that Donald Trump was the one inciting it. Then the American people wouldn't be answering flash polling like this that overwhelmingly supported his deployment to the National Guard. You wouldn't want the president deploying the National Guard on a peaceful protest, right? So this data right here says to me, right off the bat, this data right here says to me, the mainstream media, the left, all the gaslighting is failing. It's failing. Not only did Americans say they supported it, it wasn't like 53-47. It wasn't, some small number here or a plurality like 47% approve, 40% disapprove, and 13% are undecided. Insider Advantage was one of the most accurate pollsters in the 2020 presidential election, had a new poll by about the Los Angeles riots, and they asked what people thought about Trump deploying the National Guard. Do you approve Donald Trump's National Guard deployment? Yes, 59%. No, 39%. As of June 10th. This is right now a 60-40 issue. This is right now a 60-40 issue. And it's failing. No matter how many times Maxine Waters wants to do crap like this. This made me laugh. Look, we just showed you some videos, right, of cars being lit on fire. Like this. Okay? Look at that. That's not good. Here we go. Here's another one. I wouldn't say those are peaceful. I wouldn't say those are nice scenes. Maxine Waters, though, wants you to believe her. Don't believe what I just showed you. She wants you to believe her. Watch.
And even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. And I went from downtown detention back out into the community, talking to people what happened in Paramount, what happened in Compton, what happened in Inglewood. So, first of all, get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw.
The few incidents that you saw. It was just a few incidents, guys. There's no violence. She said it clear as day. There was no violence. It doesn't get more Orwellian than that. Somebody made this. I don't know who it was. Somebody made this video I saw on X. If I knew who it was, I'd tell you who it was because this was brilliant. Here's Maxine Waters saying that there is no violence next to several examples of violence. Watch this.
And even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. And I went from downtown detention back out into the community, talking to people what happened in Paramount, what happened in Compton, what happened in Inglewood. So, first of all, get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw.
Don't rely on what you saw right next to Maxine Waters. Was that brilliant or what? I don't know who made that. AV 1965 says, it's really not funny, but it is funny. There's no violence. It's like Baghdad Bob. Remember Baghdad Bob during the Iraq War? He was the Iraqi, they called him, his official position was, I believe, the Iraqi information minister. And he was a propagandist. He was a meme here in the United States before there was memes. I remember this. I think I was in like 5th or 6th grade. And I used to look forward to watching Baghdad Bob every day because he would air here in the United States. And you would see like images of, you know, U.S. troops and the coalition going into Iraq and tearing down statues of Saddam Hussein and taking over Baghdad and taking over Fallujah and all this. And he's like, we are beating the United States back. And then you see like a tank go by him in the background, like a U.S. tank, basically like, no, you're not. She Baghdad Bobbed it. But I want you to understand something. Look, and just because it's failing doesn't mean I think we should stop calling it out. Absolutely not. But the majority of Americans, overwhelming majority of Americans, 20 points, overwhelming majority of Americans, including, here's the breakdown, 89% of Republicans, 56% of independents, and even 37% of Democrats approved of Donald Trump deploying the National Guard to Los Angeles because of the riots. It's popular. It's the right move. And not only is it the right move in the eyes of the American people, which matters, it's also the right move in the eyes of the courts, which also matters. It's nice to see one of these decisions go our way. It's even nicer to watch fake news CNN have to report on it. Take a look.
Denied the state of California's request to stop Trump from using the California National Guard to keep the peace and keep order during these protests. CNN's Elena Treen is at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where President Trump is speaking. And Elena, that's a big development, the judge denying California's request. Tell us about that, and tell us what the president has been saying in his Fort Bragg speech.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge deal for the president here and his administration. And we heard just moments ago.
It is a huge deal. And we told you that it was going to be upheld yesterday. Now, this was a temporary restraining order that, Newsom was petitioning for. This isn't his entire lawsuit, but if the court strikes down or decides not to grant a temporary restraining order, it generally means that they don't think it's going to hold up in the first place. And remember, Title 10. We'll go through the language of Title 10 again. It's Section 3 of Title 10. The president is the president's allowed to federalize the National Guard. Item 1. Whenever the United States or any of the Commonwealths or possessions is invaded or is in danger of invasion by a foreign nation. And what they mean is not illegal aliens, but, an actual foreign military act of war. We can debate the semantics of that in the court of public opinion, but in a legal court, this is not, quote unquote, recognized as an invasion. Number 2, there was a rebellion or danger of a rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States. What they mean by that is armed insurrection. Again, you can look at this and think it's a rebellion. I'm telling you, legally, it's not going to fit that. It's not going to meet the demands of that. Number 3, whenever the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States, the president may call into federal service members and units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers as he considers necessary to repel the invasion, suppress the rebellion, or execute those laws, meaning federal laws. Orders for these purposes shall be issued through the governors of the states or, in the case of the District of Columbia, through the commanding general of the National Guard of the District of Columbia. That last piece of text, people want to say, well, the governor does to give the order. The governor doesn't give the order. Once the president federalizes those troops under Title 10, the president of the United States is the commander-in-chief. The governor is a subordinate at that point in time, if he's even in the chain of command at all. He essentially acts as a symbol. He has no authority over those troops when they've been federalized under Title 10. And the most important thing to realize is the president can federalize the National Guard under Title 10 if federal officers on the ground at that scene are unable to maintain order by themselves. The National Guard can assist. What does assistance look like? It looks like securing federal buildings. It looks like protecting federal property, and it looks like protecting federal assets. They are not allowed to go on offense. They are not allowed to do law enforcement activities. That's not what the National Guard is doing in Los Angeles, though. The National Guard is present in Los Angeles guarding federal buildings, which frees up local and state law enforcement to go and arrest the rioters and clean up the streets. That is why the court is allowing that to stand, because it is well within Donald Trump's Title 10 rights to do so. That is why the American people overwhelmingly support deploying the National Guard, because the American people understand the National Guard isn't going out there and provoking anything. They're not arresting people. They're just playing defense, and they can only go on offense if it's retaliatory, right? In other words, someone comes up to a National Guardsman and takes a swing, that person is now liable to be fought back against. The National Guard is allowed to use necessary force in self-defense or defense of federal property. That's why it stood up in court. It was always that black and white. Now we're seeing it for ourselves, A, in the court of public opinion, which is very important, and B, in actual court, which is also important because it's not taking Donald Trump's power away. All right, quick break. We're going to get to Gavin Newsom. He tried to rewrite history yesterday. It didn't work. It didn't work. Before we do that, I want to play a quick video of Nancy Pelosi, because Nancy Pelosi decided she was going to defend the rioters yesterday. Folks, did you know that they just got caught up in the moment? And of course, Nancy, she can't stop saying the words like this. I have a lot of S words and S sounds. She makes a lot of spit. She spits. You know, when we said, when you spit, we hit, I was talking to Nancy. Because she's a spitter. She spits all over the place. You need a windshield wiper to wipe off the spit. She can't keep her teeth in her mouth. She said they were caught up in the moment. You have to understand Nancy Pelosi, right? Listen to Nancy Pelosi, then we'll get to a word from our new sponsor, My Patriot Supply. Watch this.
And I say this as a former party chair, when there is a gathering, a large gathering of people, the anarchists see it as an opportunity and they move in. So always have to be careful whether you see a burned car or broken window or whatever it is. It may be the exuberance of the moment, but it may be the anarchist setting in. I heard one of the former police chiefs of Los Angeles speak about this.
It may be the exuberance of the moment, or maybe the anarchist is sitting in, like the car's on fire when you see violence and violence.
Are you kidding me? The exuberance of the moment? And why did you use the word exuberance, Nancy? You have a pronounced lisp. Stop saying words with the S sound in it. I understand it's hard to do. But just say, these people, they got caught up. Caught up is an easier word for her to say than exuberance and anarchists. Nancy Pelosi, ladies and gentlemen. Kit Kat Marsh said, it may be the vodka. Blame it on the alcohol. Remember that song back in the 2010s, right? That time frame? Good times. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, brand new sponsor. One of the best ways to support our show, show our sponsors some love, like My Patriot Supply. Folks, have you ever noticed how the power always seems to go out right when you need it most? It never goes out on nice days. It always goes out when it's hot or it's cold or it's humid or like right in the middle of cooking something, right? Or maybe you just worked hard in the yard, you're sweaty, you want to take a nice warm shower. Power goes out, hot water heater's dead. You got to take a cold shower now. Whether it's a heat wave, a summer storm, or just too many people running the AC at once, our fragile electric grid can't keep up. That is why I want to tell you about the Grid Doctor 3300. Is there a doctor in the house? Yes, the Grid Doctor 3300 solar generator from My Patriot Supply. This thing is an absolute beast. 33 watts of off-grid power that keeps your fridge, your freezer, your lights, even medical devices running, whether the power grid fails or not. It's a solar generator, folks. It is quiet. It is safe to run indoors. It can charge using solar panels. Where do we get the solar panels? I got great news for you. Here's where you get those solar panels. Right now, here's the crazy deal. When you buy the Grid Doctor 3300, they will throw in 2 waterproof 200-watt solar panels completely free. And these are not cheap plastic solar panels either. They're super durable, they're waterproof, and built to last through storms, heat, and who knows what else. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. That's the page that I was just showing you. mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. Screenshot this screen. You see the way to spell it. mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. If there was ever a time to get serious about blackout protection, this is it. mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. These panels are military grade, weatherproof. They fold flat for storage, and they're completely free when you go to mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. Next up is the LFA TV store. I want to talk to you about this. You got Father's Day gifts that are absolutely amazing here on the LFA TV website, and a 20% off spring cleaning sale on the website in the store as well. Go to lfatv.us, click on the store tab, click on visit the store. Boom! Here comes the pop-up. Dang it, I didn't time it correctly. Where's the pop-up? There it is. 20% off, spring cleaning sale, lfatv.us. You got the mugs, you got the shirts, you've got all sorts of cool stuff, tumblers, keychains, tote bags, tank tops, beach towels, winter hats if it's still cold where you're at. Maybe you want to prep for next winter. lfatv.us or jeremyherald.com/store. That's lfatv.us or jeremyherald.com/store. Bad Moon right now, spelling pop-up in the live chat. I love when he does that. I really like when he does this. Let's see if I can get this. Mo, right? M-O-E. Bad Moon broke up my Mo. All right. Speaking of Mo, how are we doing right now numbers-wise? Are we doing okay? Are we on? We got less than 100 to go. 700 from Mo. By the way, thank you for 800 live yesterday. Really appreciate that. Now, whether you're watching on all platforms, I really encourage you. Rumble is our home base. It's the cool kids table. It's where everybody goes. If you're of the 4,300 that are watching the show right now, thank you for being here. We really appreciate that over on Rumble. Please make a Rumble account. If you're watching anywhere else, please make a Rumble account, whether it's X, whether it's Roku, whether it's anywhere else. Please go to rumble.com, make a Rumble account. It's completely free. Takes 2 seconds. Rumble.com/LFATV. Like the stream. It helps us fly up the charts. It helps us fly up the leaderboard here on Rumble. And follow the channel. But most importantly, if you make a Rumble account, you could join our live chat and join all of these beautiful, crazy people. Look at these crazy people. Look at the crazy people that are in the live chat. We love them. They're beautiful people. They're talented people. They're smart people. They're highly respected people. And they're wonderful people. You could join our live chat. I want to see you. Okay? So go ahead and make that Rumble account. Let's make that happen. Gavin Newsom yesterday tried to rewrite history. He tried to go 1984 on us. He tried to rewrite history. Okay? And I'm going to show you what I mean by that, and then show you again, because I love when what? I love when the left debunks the left, right? There's nothing I love more than when the left debunks themselves. Remember when I started putting up these pictures? It was the Reuters headline, Riot police and anti-ICE protesters square off in Los Angeles after raids, 9 in the morning, June 7th. And I put up this snippet from the article reporting on what happened on June 6th. Helmeted police in riot gear. Yeah, you don't need police in riot gear if it's a peaceful protest. What do police in riot gear usually show up for? Anyone want to take a guess? Riot. What do police wearing riot gear usually show up in response to? Do they show up in response to peaceful protests? Or do police in riot gear show up for, I don't know. It's possible that these police in riot gear are actually showing up for riots. That's why it's called riot gear. Thank you, Peg Jernigan in the chat. Thank you, AV1965 in the chat. Thank you, Kit Kat Mar in the chat. Thank you. Riots. Thank you. Battle. Oh, that too. Very true. Look at it. Riots? Yes. It wasn't a trick question like apparently the one that I asked before that I didn't phrase properly. That was my fault. They show up for riots. Look at these beautiful people. You got to join this beautiful chat. Make a Rumble account and join this chat, would you please? And hit that thumbs up button for our show. So not only did Reuters debunk the left, and Reuters to the left is the gospel. It's their, that's an unimpeachable source. But another fake news media source debunked the left yesterday. But what I mean by debunking the left, here is Gavin Newsom's description of the timeline, how the riots unfolded. He said, on Saturday morning, when federal agents jumped out of an unmarked van near a Home Depot parking lot, they began grabbing people. That didn't happen on Saturday morning. That happened on Friday morning. June 6th. Everything started on June 6th, not June 7th. Do you see what he's trying to do? In response, everyday Angelinos, oh yeah, I'm sure that's what they are, came out to exercise their constitutional right to free speech and assembly, to protest their government's actions. In turn, the state of California and the city and county of Los Angeles sent our police officers to keep the peace. And with some exceptions, they were successful. No, they weren't, because they showed up in riot gear. They were not successful in keeping the peace if the protest turned into a riot. Donald Trump, without consulting with California's law enforcement leaders, commandeered 2,000 of our state's National Guard members to deploy on our streets. That's when the downward spiral began. See what he did? Do you see what Gavin Newsom did? Everything was under control until Donald Trump showed up. That's what he's saying. Folks, wait for it. This is gonna make everybody go, wait a second, what are you doing? Who are you citing? A couple of days ago, you had the Washington Post. You had the New York Times last week. Now ABC News? What happened to him? He's lost. He loves the fake news. No. I love when the fake news debunks the left. ABC News gave us the actual timeline of what happened in California, showing you that Gavin Newsom is lying. ABC News starts off their little timeline piece with this. Take a look. June 6th. Oh, ICE agents carried out a series of immigration sweeps across Southern California. Wait, Gavin Newsom told me that this happened on Saturday and everything was fine until Trump got involved on Sunday. What else does ABC News say? Around 3 p.m. local time, a crowd begins gathering in the downtown fashion district after ICE agents show up at an apparel manufacturing business. Aerial footage taken by ABC News' Los Angeles station, KABC, shows what appears to be ICE agents loading 2 white passenger vehicles with people in handcuffs. As the vehicles leave the apparel business, protesters try unsuccessfully to stop them. Wait a second, including one individual who was even seen lying down in the path of one of the cars. That's illegal. I thought everything was under control, according to Gavin Newsom. According to ABC, Gavin Newsom is full of sugar honey iced tea. Doesn't stop there. Several hours later, a large group of protesters gathered outside the Edward R. Roybal Federal Building and U.S. Courthouse downtown, calling for an end to immigration raids in the city. Video footage shows protesters vandalizing the building. Wait a second. I thought Everything was under control. Heckling police and throwing bottles and other objects at officers who used shields to protect themselves. Police in riot gear are seen confronting the protesters with batons and what appeared to be tear gas launchers. But Gavin Newsom told me all of this took place on June 7th, not on June 6th, and he told me the real trouble started when Donald Trump got involved. Oh. Well, ain't that a shame that ABC News came around here and debunked Gavin Newsom at 10 p.m. on June 6th. Remember, Newsom said everything started on June 7th. On 10 p.m. on June 6th, the Los Angeles Police Department posted a message on social media saying an unlawful assembly, unlawful. What does unlawful mean? Does unlawful mean you're following the law? Let's ask the rooster. No, unlawful does not mean you're following the law. Nobody's above the law, right? Unlawful means illegal. Again, ABC News debunking Gavin Newsom's timeline. I can't say this enough. Please share this with your friends. Please share this with your liberal friends who are like, oh, well, Gavin Newsom said it all started on the 7th. Oh, yeah, well, ABC News says Gavin Newsom is full of sugar honey iced tea. Because he is. He always is. At 10 p.m., the Los Angeles Police Department posted a message on social media saying an unlawful assembly has been declared for the area around the downtown Federal Building and advises protesters and others to leave the area. Now, I'm not calling them protesters. ABC News is doing it because they're still trying to do damage control. Now we're on to June 7th. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department receives reports around 10:15 a.m. of a large crowd gathering in Paramount, a small suburb of Los Angeles, amid rumors that ICE is preparing to raid a Home Depot. Deputies ordered the crowd to disperse and fired tear gas and flashbangs when people refused to leave. Around the same time, another protest broke out in neighboring Compton, where reports emerged of vandalism, including protesters setting a car on fire in the street. Have we gotten to the part where Donald Trump gets involved yet? I haven't even said his name once. Let's keep on following that timeline. ABC News debunking Gavin Newsom. Around 6 p.m., June 7th. So we've had vandalism and riots on June 6th. Vandalism and riots the majority of the day, June 7th. Around 6 p.m., June 7th, Donald Trump signed a presidential memorandum authorizing the deployment of 2,000 National Guard members to Los Angeles, saying it is necessary to address the lawlessness in L.A. Bass and Newsom immediately object to the president's decision, saying it would only inflame tensions. Throughout the night, protesters still assembled at the downtown Federal Complex were seen throwing fireworks. Hey, ABC News, protesters do not throw fireworks. Rioters do. This is not hard. You see, this is ridiculous. Protesters still assemble at the downtown Federal Complex were seen throwing fireworks. I've been to a lot of protests. I've organized a lot of protests. In none of my protests, gatherings, rallies, Jackie, you in the chat, right? Little Patriot? Jackie, any of our loud majority riots, rallies, functions, protests, etc., demonstrations, whatever you call it, in any of those situations, did we ever throw fireworks? How about rocks? We didn't even do that on January 6th. One of Jackie's favorite days for many reasons. We ever do that? No, we never did that. Think of it. Protesters were seen throwing fireworks, rocks, glass bottles, and other objects, not just at each other, not just to each other, at police, who responded by firing less lethal projectiles and flashbangs to disperse protesters. These are not protesters. These are rioters. When you start throwing stuff at police, when you start throwing fireworks, no, they're not protesters. ABC trying to do damage control there. But the point of the matter is, okay, they're still debunking Gavin Newsom. June 8th, National Guard troops begin arriving in Los Angeles around 4 a.m., taking up position outside the Roybal Federal Building. The deployment marked the first time a president has mobilized the state's National Guard without a governor's consent since Lyndon Johnson did so in 1965 when he sent National Guard troops to protect civil rights activists marching from Selma to Montgomery. But Donald Trump was allowed to do it under Title X. The point of going through this timeline and taking ABC News' reporting of the timeline is to show you that Gavin Newsom saying that everything started on June 7th and got out of control when Trump got involved is nonsense. ABC News just showed you in their reporting. ABC, I don't like them. I'm using them because the left likes them. ABC News showed you the timeline, the real timeline. That's exactly what happened. The only problem I have with their characterization of their timeline is they keep referring to the rioters as protesters. They're not protesters. Protesters do not throw fireworks at police, throw glass bottles at police. That's not what protesters do. Not at all. Now, you know what's funny? What's one of my favorite phrases when karma comes back and bites the left in the ass?
No fun when rabbits got the gun.
Yes! Brennan is on fire this morning.
That's right.
Ain't no fun when the rabbits got the gun. It's a shame. Ain't that a shame? Fats Domino, great. Ain't that a shame, right? Anti-ICE riots shut down Hollywood filming around downtown Los Angeles. Oh,
I wonder why.
my heart breaks for these people. They just want to film their movies, guys. Get out of the road. No wonder Karen Bass started to hold a press conference, because now Hollywood's upset. Speaking of Karen Bass, and she puts the ass in Bass, by the way. Here she is, the coward that she is, running away from LFA TV's correspondent on the ground in Los Angeles yesterday. Watch this.
Mayor Bass, how do you feel about the protests breaking out throughout the country?
Watch where you're going. You got the phone.
She couldn't even give him a response. She couldn't even say, and our correspondent said protests too. He didn't even phrase it like a loaded question, right? He gave her the best and most professional opportunity to answer. Addressed her perfectly. Mayor Bass, what do you think about the protests breaking out across the country? He even said the word protest. He even said the word riot. I mean, I'm not criticizing him. He did a great job. It's not like she didn't answer because she didn't like the way the question was phrased. She didn't answer because she's a coward. She then gave a little speech about the incidents at night last night after running away from Edward, our correspondent, who's doing a phenomenal job on the ground. Follow LFA TV on X. If you're watching on X, follow LFA TV on X. Please do, because you will see all the on-the-ground coverage that Edward is bringing us. It's amazing. But watch Bass last night giving her little update on what's going on.
Mayor Karen Bass.
Stop the looting. Many businesses have now been affected by or vandalized. Last night, there were 23 businesses that were looted. And I think that if you drive through downtown LA, the graffiti is everywhere and has caused significant damages to businesses and a number of properties.
Oh, wow. I thought it was peaceful, though. I thought it was fine. What happened? What changed? Maybe if our correspondent sees Karen Bass today, he can say, Mayor Bass, who put the graffiti all over the place? I thought this was a beautiful thing. I thought everybody was peaceful. Who did that? We'll see what happens today. She's not going to answer the question. It would just be funny to ask that, right? To be like, Mayor Bass, I have a question. Who did all this? Was it the Orange Man? Did the Orange Man, I'm going to spray so much graffiti. I'm a beautiful graffiti artist. I'm like the Pablo Picasso, who I knew very well. I do a wonderful job with graffiti. They call it a tag. DJT, they call it a tag. All right, I see we have Mo, right? Mo time? All right. Here he is. Wahoo! This is our hedgehog. Wahoo! Right? This is our hedgehog. People are like, what's the deal? I love this. This is a dog toy. It goes back, the OGs understand. Years ago, we got this hedgehog, and we started to use it to symbolize something we're probably not supposed to talk about, but that's all right. You know, hunking your hedgehog, we talked about it. Jeffrey Toobin, Marjorie Taylor Greene with Kevin McCarthy. Yeah. Jeffrey Toobin on a Zoom call, honking your hedgehog. Put two and two together. I'm not going to do the math for you. All right. Obviously, protests. Right now, they're calling them protests. No kings coming around the country Saturday. So stay on guard in your areas. Also, I would like to bring this up again. Remember the wild hog who the rooster had a problem with a couple of weeks ago? LaMonica McIver? Yeah, you get the point, right? Well, LaMonica McIver, for what you just saw on camera, has officially been indicted for forcibly impeding and interfering with federal officers at Newark, New Jersey's Delaney Hall. McIver forcibly impaired and interfered with federal officers as they attempted to arrest an individual outside the Delaney Hall Federal Immigration Facility. She's officially been indicted on federal charges of forcibly impeding and interfering with federal officers. The DOJ added that she, as well as other Democrat representatives who said they were conducting oversight of the ICE facility, in addition to her, as well as the other lawmakers, Newark Mayor Ross Baraka arrived on property and was given multiple warnings that he would be arrested if he did not leave. She faces up to 17 years in prison. Now, I don't think she's going to serve 17 years in prison or be sentenced. I think she's going to plea out, but that is for another day. All right, let's get to a word from our friends at Armor Colostrum, and then we'll take a victory lap on Terry Moran at ABC News. It's tryarmor.com/LFATV, TRYARMRA.com/LFATV. Ladies and gentlemen, you know I'm always on the lookout for ways to strengthen my immunity, my gut health, improve my fitness and metabolism, and enhance my skin and hair radiance. That is what Armor Colostrum can do for you and for so many other people. It's the first nutrition we receive in life and contains all the essential nutrients that our bodies need in order to thrive. It can help you reactivate your hair growth and help your skin glow. It can help fortify your gut health and ignite your metabolism by combating bloating, help you feel lighter. It's better than probiotics. They're touted as this omnipotent gut health solution, but they only address one part of the four-part gut wall, and most of their products are dead by the time they reach your gut. Armor Colostrum naturally fortifies your entire gut wall system, optimizing your microbiome, strengthening the gut wall architecture, which guards against irritants that can trigger symptoms like bloating and constipation. You can also fuel your fitness, performance, and recovery. Even Dylan Filion, a hockey player, loves his Armor Colostrum. Dylan in the chat, we love him. We got a special offer for the audience. Go to tryarmor.com/LFATV. That's TRYARMRA.com/LFATV for 15% off of your first order. Tryarmor.com/LFATV. That's TRYARMRA.com/LFATV. Lima Foxtrot Alpha Tango Victor. ABC News has fired Terry Moran because he made a disgusting comment about Stephen Miller on X. And his actions, of course, have consequences. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Terry Moran, we call him Terry Moran. Here he is interviewing Donald Trump not too long ago, and Trump puts him in his place.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across a stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst, I have to be honest with you.
Thank you.
And here's another one. This is Donald Trump saying, I don't even know who you are, dude. And now nobody knows. Well, more people know who he is because ABC fired him. But here's another good one. This is a gem from Donald Trump.
Murderers, criminals in this country. We have to get them out, and we're doing it.
By law.
And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute
Well,
over that.
Wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshopped. So let me
That was Photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry. Hey, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
Right, we'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS, as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're there
in
now.
your picture.
Terry.
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
Well, we'll take a look at that.
You do such a disservis.
We'll take a look at that,
Why don't you just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
What a great exchange. Now Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man, right? The Democrats' new poster child, their new mascot, their new pet, is coming back to the United States. And the reason why he's coming back to the United States isn't because he was wrongfully deported to El Salvador. He's coming back to the United States because our good friend, Michael Patrick Leahy of the Tennessee Star, found a traffic stop in 2022 that led to the Department of Justice investigating and indicting Kilmar Abrego Garcia on charges of human smuggling. And we will be joining the great Michael Patrick Leahy in an hour for the Tennessee Bonus Hour. Go to x.com, search him at Michael P. Leahy if you want to watch that. Jeremy Harrell coming up next with Live from America on LFA TV for the next 2 hours. As President Trump says, we will never give up, we will never give in, and we will never ever surrender. And if all else fails, we will just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you're watching on X, hit that repost button. If you're watching on Rumble, hit that thumbs up before you leave. If you're watching anywhere else, drop us a like. Make sure you're sharing the show. Help us spread our word far and wide. Help us spread the word of truth. Help us spread LFA TV in this amazing message and mission far and wide. And in the words of John Fetterman, the only Democrat with any common sense at all, good night, everybody. Bang gavel. We will see you tomorrow morning.